What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. I am here to do my weekly reading wrap up, just chat about all of the things that I read this week that I wanted to share with you. I don't have any news to start this one off with, so we can jump right into the books. First up, I finished the fourth book in Joseph Sells' Book of Thrice Dead series, Queen of Last Hope. I said the third book in this series, Horseman of the Apocalypse, was my favorite of the series and my favorite Joseph Sells book. And I wondered, how was this one going to stand up? Was it going to be on equal footing? Was it going to fall short? It's insane how good it is. Did I love this book? Yes. I had no idea. My brain cannot wrap itself around how big this world has gotten, how it is that Sale incorporated the multiverse. It is unique. It is nothing I've ever read before. It's so off the page in scope that I am just along for the ride. There's no predicting what's coming because even though I have discerned a little bit of the storylines that might be going forward, at this point, starting with book 3, I just nowhere close. And that's all I can tell you. It is the fourth book in the series. I just encourage you to read it. Anything I tell you would give away things that happened in the previous books. It would clue you in on characters doing things, and I just don't want to give any of it away. I just want to encourage you guys to pick this series up. As of time of filming, only the first 3 books are available. This one will become available April 1st. The final 2 books of the series will be out May 1st and June 1st, so it is a completed series. They're scheduled for release. I have an arc of all 6. It's coming for those of you who like to make sure your series are complete before you start them, and I'm telling y'all, this is a series to read. For those of you who love dark fantasy, horror, science fiction, blended stories, but you like some depth to it, this is your series. Next, I finished Grave Peril by Jim Butcher, and it is so much fun rereading and seeing how the books line up and rank on the current reread. I'm not sure how many times I have read this series. I know I've read the first 5 books multiple times, and this one always stands out to me because it's where I really got hooked into the series. I really became invested, and I could get the glimmerings of how big this world was actually going to be. The author started connecting things in a way that I could see. When you go back on a reread, you do see those threads are there in the first 2 books, and it's so freaking cool how that worked. But some of my favorite storylines really get off the ground in this one, so it just has a lot of love in my heart for what I know is coming, and just such a good series. Next, I finished Orion Citadel, which is the second book in Wilbur Seymour's The Kuiper series. I just love how this author writes characters and just explores their depths. The character of Bob is so three-dimensional. He is so real and raw. And so in this one, we have a group of survivors that have left Kuiper Station and they're headed to Orion Citadel. The thing about Kuiper Station, if you'll remember me talking about the first book, first of all, it's a decommissioned space station where people go when they want to disappear, namely criminals. So this group of criminals is headed to Orion Citadel, and they're starting to get worried about how they're going to be received because they're criminals. And so Athena, who was over a section of Kuiper Station, she's trying to keep the peace, keep people calm. And you begin to think, there's something about this woman. And very early on, when I started reading this, one of the things I wrote in all caps, underlined twice in my notes, was, who is Athena? That does get answered. Never saw it coming. I love when I get into a series and the author still surprises me. I was so shocked by what happened and just how thoroughly it happened. That mystery had me engaged, turning the pages. Of course, I love learning more about Bob. Bob is worried about his future on Orion Citadel. What is he going to do? All he has ever known is Kuiper Station. He was born and raised there. He's very uncouth. He has a very foul mouth, just gutter humor, and he knows he's got to clean himself up if he's going to make it on Orion Citadel, and just all of those doubts and fears that he's experiencing. For those of you who are character-driven readers, it's just a really good growth and development of a character. And then there's this one little tiny matter that nobody really gave much thought to. They're going to Orion Citadel on a pirate ship that they stole after killing the pirate, and his lover happens to be on Orion Citadel, and well, I'm looking forward to reading book 3 next month in this series. That takes care of everything that I finished. What did I stick my nose into next? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because I had so much fun rereading Grave Peril, I went right into Summer Night. Now, the main reason for this is because I have the audiobooks. I own this series in multiple physical formats. I have them on audiobooks and I have them on my Kindle. None of the rest of the books that are on my TBR this month had audiobooks available, or I'm still waiting in line for them at my library. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get a head start on April. I'm going to get right into Summer Night by Jim Butcher. It's one of my top favorites for several reasons, and I won't name any of them here for those of you who may not be this far in the series yet. I would love to leave that as a surprise for you, but I love it. I am just loving it. What else am I reading? Well, on my Kindle, I'm sure there are others of you that are in this program. I'm not sure how I got in it, but apparently there's a beta program about Kindle points. I think if you buy books, they give you points for your Kindle. And I hadn't really given much thought to it, but my patron pick of this month was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Because I have such a checkered past with that author, I absolutely was not going to drop $20 on that book. Instead, I went to my library, I put a hold on the physical book, the ebook, and the audiobook. Extremely long wait. There's still an extremely long wait. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to use some of those Kindle points and I'll just pick up the Kindle version. So I did. Now, I am liking this book. I'm about halfway through, but for those of you who haven't picked it up yet, but you want to, forewarning, it's a slow start. I didn't actually start enjoying this book, get captured by it until 30% in, which was dangerous because I've gotten to where if the first 20 to 25% does not catch my attention and I am not enjoying anything about it, I'm DNFing it. I came very close, but I thought, you know what? This is a patron pick. Let me just get a little bit further. And at this point, being halfway through, I am glad that I made that decision to do that because I am loving it. You know, you see the title, How to Sell a Haunted House. You're expecting a haunted house story. I was, but the whole premise, the plot is there's a brother and sister, Mark and Louise. Their parents die in a car accident very suddenly. Now they've come in to deal with the arrangements of their parents' death, the funeral, they've got to clean out the house, sell it, and all that fun stuff. Throughout the first 30%, the brother and sister are just bickering constantly, and it is freaking annoying. It's the type of bickering, I'm sure you've all experienced it at some point in your life. Usually there's somebody in your friend group that dates somebody that all they do is fight. They don't care who's around. It's constant. It's annoying. You don't want to be around them. That is Mark and Louise. I was really about to be over them, but there was little nuggets, tiny nuggets, 3 or 4 spread out in this 30% that let me know something wasn't right about this house. And that's what I was there for. That's what I hung in for. And about that 30% mark, ooh, it paid off. And I'm going to tell you, Grady Hendrix screwed me up because that first 30%, I'm like, this is not scary at all. I was reading last night in bed. So I finished the night in bed with my Kindle. I lay back, got it propped up on my chest, I'm reading. When things started going sideways, reading it in bed at night was just a very bad decision. For those of you who don't know, I live in a townhouse. I hate it. But we had to land somewhere because we moved here in a whirlwind because of Chris's very sudden job change. We just landed in a townhouse while we're saving to buy a house. So in a townhouse, you share a wall with 1 to 2 other families. The family that lives next to me has 2 small children, and the wall that my bedroom butts up against with them is right next to their stairs apparently, and their kids run up and down the stairs all the time. I know that, I hear it all the time. I don't even really notice it anymore unless I'm laying in bed at 11 o'clock at night and I'm freaking reading a scary story where things is happening and then they're running up and down the stairs bouncing and banging, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to handle this. And by then it's too late. I can't just be like, well, I'm just going to quit reading and turn the light off and go to bed. Oh no. No. That's not how that works. That's leave the lamp on and hope your husband comes to bed very soon so that you feel like you got some protection. It was pretty funny. You know, it's easy to laugh about the next morning, beautiful sunshine coming in your window, but my goodness, y'all, last night I was messed up. And I didn't want to put it down either. You know, so it finally did start to deliver. I still have 50% of the book to go, so it could go the other way. Grady Hendrix and me, like I said, we got a checker pass. So next week, I should be able to tell you how that one's going to shake out. For my short story collection that I've been reading, I started reading Her Infernal Name and Other Nightmares by Robert P. Atone. I have read many books by this small press, which is Spooky House Press. I have decided I want to be a completionist. I want to read their whole catalog, and this is one that is on there. It was on Kindle Unlimited. I downloaded it. I love Robert Atone. Not only is he a great author, he's just a good person. And so on a whim, since I had finished my review copies of short stories for the month, I decided to start that one, and it has turned out to be a great decision. Now for my short stories, I do mini reviews. Each morning I get up with my first cup of coffee, I read a short story, and then typically if I have time, depending on what's going on that day, I get on Instagram and I'll put a little post. So if you want to get a little brief mini review about the short stories and the collection that I'm reading, check out my Instagram. You can follow me. All of my contact information where you can follow me is down in the description box below, but that can give you a little more indication of what the collection about as I'm reading it. Of course, once I finish it, I'll write a review and talk about it and all that fun stuff. That wraps up everything that I am currently reading. What will I read next? I have 2 NetGalley arcs that I want to get knocked out this month. I just got approved for Martha Wells' Witch King. I can't remember if this is the only fantasy book she's written so far, or maybe it's her second and it's been a long time. She's the author of the Murderbot Diaries series. It's a sci-fi series that I've started that I need to continue, but I loved it. I am so excited for this one. And to be honest with you, I have no idea what it's about except that it's fantasy. I like the title, Witch King. That really appeals to me. So when I saw it go up on NetGalley, I requested it. I'm so thrilled that they approved me for it. The other arc that I got approved for is We Love to Entertain by Sarah Strohmeyer. I may be pronouncing her name incorrectly. This will be my first book by her. I'm not even sure if it's her debut. I saw the cover on NetGalley and I read a few lines of the description. It seems like it's going to be a really fun, interesting thriller. So that appealed to me. So I requested it. They approved me. So I'd love to knock out both of those arcs this month. And of course, share my reactions and opinions regarding those so that you'll be able to make the determination if those are ones you would like to put on your TBR or perhaps grab a copy on release day. That's the hope anyway with these videos, is being a literary matchmaker, matching you up to a book that may or may not have been on your radar, may or may not have been one you would have ever thought about picking up, helping you find your next read. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.